Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2020 Marvelous Awards. It's the third annual Marvelous Awards. As a somber note to this, as usually we try to, with the Marvelous Awards, try to celebrate Japanese Puroresu and celebrate what's going on throughout the year. This year, 2020, has been probably the worst year that I could ever think of, as far as just with the coronavirus and with, sadly, a lot of great people have left us far too soon, whether it be people in and out of the wrestling business, as you know, with Chadwick Boseman, Kobe Bryant, and Gigi Bryant. A lot of great people in the wrestling world. Pat Patterson, Danny Hodge, Shad Gas Sports, sacrificing his own life for his son. And sadly, when I was getting my notes together before I went over to my girlfriend's house for the holidays and whatnot, I was just like, well, this is going to be, obviously we want to talk about Hana Kumara because that was a very big passing in the Japanese pro wrestling world. But sadly, we had somebody else join that list, and sadly enough, it is a tremendous man, incredible father, and a man that has been featured a lot on this channel as far as in the TW world. It is the big rig, Brody Lee, passing away at 41 last night, as you all know. Incredibly sad. Incredibly sad. As a man who was part of Dragon Gate there in the turn of the last decade, 2009, 2010, was part of Dragon Gate USA. Really before signing with WWE. When he left WWE, I was hoping he would have a Champion Carnival run or a G1 Climax run in his near future. And sadly, we will never get to see that, or we'll never even get to ponder that question again as he has left us far too soon. At the age of 41, and that one just crazy. I mean, when you think that the worst is behind us in 2020, we get that. And just horrendous, horrendous. I immediately thought of his family. I know he's got two young kids. I think his youngest is 3. So, I mean, that's just fucking terrible. He was a hilariously entertaining man. A man that I have followed for well over a decade now, at least towards 2008, 2009, Chikara era was kind of when I first really saw him. Weirdly enough, one of my first kind of seeing him outside the scenes, there was a YouTube series that Dalton Castle did before, he was even Dalton Castle before he was even Smooth Sailing. Ashley Remington, this was early into his career, on the New York independent scene, and he had a YouTube kind of vlog show that kind of a lot of independent wrestlers were doing at that time, and he had Brody Lee on one of them, and he was fucking hilarious. One of my favorite shoot interviews from Small Rock Video, where they were doing a lot of the current indie guys at that time. He did one, and Eddie Kingston was with him, and that one was just he does a hilarious Kevin Nash story and whatnot. But it was just he was always someone that he just loved being a dad, and that was just awesome to see someone that was loved his family so much. He was just the fucking man. He got me into BTE again. I had watched Being the Elite from the start, from episode 1 to where it was just kind of like a travel vlog where they were part of New Japan and PWG and just kind of vlogging how they did, kind of after what Kevin Steen had done with his weekend escapades thing, and they just kind of kept on going with that. And after Talking Shop was a thing, they kind of avenue to that. I stopped when they did All Out, or All In rather, when they did the big, obviously mega kind of indie event that they did. I was just like, oh, that's a good stopping point. But I got back into it because of Brody Lee and what he was doing with BT and the Dark Order. God bless those fucking guys. John Silver and Evil Uno, 2 guys I was a fan of before they got signed to AEW, and I was so happy to see them get this elevation and get this new spotlight. And I just feel so bad for those guys because now Dark Order just it will never be the same. It's a goddamn shame. But obviously, you with that, you try not to think of what they're gonna do post Brody Lee, but it is a daunting task, and I just did. Yeah, it fucking crushed me. I thought about that all night, and just I was just shocked. I was shocked. I was out getting food, and I left my phone, kind of charging, and I just came back and saw the fucking notification. I just could not believe it. I was fucking floored. just aghast. I was like, oh my fucking god, I could not believe it. Still shocked about it. I don't think I'll ever just kind of get used to it. I just nuts. You never thought something like that would happen. It's unbelievable. So sad. And with Hannah Kimura, my god, that poor girl. 21 years old. I mean, this was the first time I had seen a wrestler that was younger than me pass. And I turned 25 in October, so that was something that just. Oh, she's so fucking young. She had the whole goddamn world in front of her, man. She had one of my. It probably was my favorite Joshi in the world, to be honest. Like, she was just so entertaining inside and outside the ring. Like, her interviews, she was just so fucking funny, so charismatic. Like, she would lie to people, like, if they asked her about like what she did as a profession, because obviously when you see her, you would not expect her to be like a pro wrestler. She was just out of this world as far as just her abilities and just her charisma, and how she just seemed like she fucking was in the pre-show Wrestle Kingdom, working in front of 20, 30,000 people, to then, fast forward a couple months later and she's no longer with us. Just so goddamn sad. Hard immediately, sent out to her mom, Joan Kimura, like, that had to have been so fucking tough. So fucking tough. It's, and it comes back to, Brody Lee's thing. His untimely passing. Right around that, right after Christmas. That's fucking tough. So sad. This has been an horrendous year. But as far as, the Japanese pro wrestling scene, Hannah Kimura, just, a major player in the Joshi scene, seemed to have primed to be a Joshi of the decade, really. She was going to be a mega star. She already was, a star. She was going into acting and doing reality shows, and it just seemed like she had the whole fucking world in front of her. It's a goddamn shame. As, 2020, you think you couldn't get any worse, and you had the shit on top of this shit Sunday of a year. Terrible thing. A goddamn tragedy. To keep up with all the tragedies that have happened throughout this year. But we're gonna try our goddamn damnedest here with this Japanese pro wrestling, the celebration of Japanese pro wrestling, the Marvelous Awards, our third annual Marvelous Awards, as we will be talking about the moments of the year, the rookies of the year, the most improved, the stable of the year, as far as the tag team of the year, and the top. Usually what we do the top 10 juniors, top 10 matches, top 10 shows. Because of COVID, we're going to kind of shorten some of these lists down to 5, and we're going to kind of shorten a lot of stuff. Don't mind that. As always, we kind of keep the same format. We start with the moments of the year first, as my god. You could start with the moments of the year and just say this year fucking sucked. But we're going to try to stay positive. We're going to try to keep it going. Obviously, our hearts go out to those, the families that have been hit by a lot of just loss and sadness. It's been a horrendous year on top of the COVID-19 virus, and just unbelievable. Unreal. Just so goddamn sad. But we're gonna, hopefully I can get this moments of the year together without just breaking down. As Shun Skywalker upsetting Ida in the Open the Brave Gate Championship, as, my god, that is the 5th moment of the year for me. Shun Skywalker, what a year he had. Was pretty much stuck in Japan, or it was stuck in Mexico, rather. It was pretty much stuck in Mexico throughout 2020, was in IWRG. For most of the year, he comes back once the borders kind of open up, and it is really his first big match. He's main eventing the Kobe Pro Wrestling Festival, the biggest show for Dragon Gate, and he beats Ida. Unbelievable upset. I did not see that coming one iota. I did not see that coming. I could not believe it. But the man, talk about Dragon Gate. What a great idea for them to do. You have 2020, you have COVID going on, you have these changing of schedules where you're not running shows in front of people. Might as well take that opportunity to elevate some new talent. They absolutely did. They were pushing a lot of young guys out there and giving them a big spotlight. Especially, like Red has a lot of guys that are super young. and they were killing guys throughout the year. I mean, they were doing a great fucking job at just elevating talent and being put in a major spotlight as far as Dragon Gate goes. They did a phenomenal job of elevating talent. My hat's off to them. We're gonna see how it works once the crowds come back, really in full force here in 2021. But so far, I think people are gonna enjoy the product. I mean, Dragon Gate, they have a strong, because a lot of the fan bases, the way that they book stables, it's very much like sports teams, where you have fans who support that stable and they cheer on that stable much like they do their favorite sports team. So it's very genius the way they book and the way they set a lot of guys up and elevate them like that. It makes it a lot more enjoyable for fans to get into the product and enjoy new guys. So I think it's going to go really well for them. As my fourth moment of the year, Suwama beating Kendo Miyahara to not only stop the defense record from being broken, Jesus Christ, only to extend his own record by having his 7th reign as the Triple Crown champion. First of all, what a pretty great match that was. I mean, that was a solid little match. Kendo Miyahara, coming in that year, it looked like he was going to be the guy who was going to break that record. He's going to break the all-time, consecutive defenses and just thought it was going to happen. But Suwama fucking stopped it right at the end as he created his 7th reign. And he's kept it going. I thought for sure Zeus was going to beat him, and then that didn't happen. So we still have Suwama as Triple Crown champion going into 2021. These fucking... What All Japan has done booking-wise, half of the year has been very questionable. There's been a lot of passing of the book. First, they passed it to Shuji Ishikawa, and Shuji Ishikawa was doing a pretty terrible job, to be honest, about booking, and then they gave it to Jerry, which a lot of people still were a lot confused by that. Like, who's the booker? Is it Shuji Ishikawa? Is it Yoshihiro Tajiri? Who really is it? Are they splitting it? And there was just so many different reports going around who is, in fact, in charge, and that's a terrible thing to do. Co-booking like that, it's a terrible way of going about business, to be honest, because you gotta have one guy being the yes or no guy. At the end of the day, you have to have somebody being the final boss and going, this is what we are fucking doing. Because if you have two guys who are stuck on one thing, it could just jumble up and be an assorted mess. But, it's just been a absolute shit show as far as booking-wise. Though I did think they made the right decision having the Triple Crown, or going with the Champion Carnival winner being Zeus. I thought that was a great idea, giving Zeus a big win like that. But we'll see, though. I think with 2021, I think Tajiri will kind of focus more and kind of be... If he keeps the book long enough, he can kind of get in a rhythm and kind of have some long-term plans and kind of see where they go from there. That's what I'm hoping for, at least. Fingers crossed for them. As my third moment of the year, Evil turning on Tetsuya Naito at the New Japan Cup as my god. Unbelievable. Unfucking believable. As far as that moment itself, that night was just like incredible to just go like, man, didn't see it coming at all. The image of him going for the fist to turning into the too sweet at the last second of the crowd popping, and it was just awesome. It was an awesome visual. And, Dick Togo making his debut, like, it was a whole thing. And then you go to the next night, and just how much it was like, this was a terrible idea. But just mainly we're talking about that night, that New Japan Cup night, where he wins it, and then he does the turn. And obviously, we kind of knew once that turn happened, it was like, well, obviously he's going to beat him at Dominion, which that completely killed Tetsuya Naito, I think, as far as that momentum. And that whole thing was a big clusterfuck. But at least for that first night, it was an awesome moment. It was a great visual moment. I think it was a great storytelling moment, too. He was the first fucking guy of LIJ, and him turning was just unbelievable. Because a lot of people were like, oh, it should have been like Shingo, should have been this, should have been that. And yeah, those guys would have done a lot better job, like especially Shingo in that main event role. But Evil, just as far as the storytelling perspective, was the right decision. And they've really fucked over his character, and his stock has dropped dramatically since that turn. But as far as that night happening, It was a great job, and they did a great job on the turn. But afterwards, Jesus Christ, terrible. It has been horrendous. It could have been like number 2 on this list had it been a great turn, but I mean, honestly, I'm kind of giving it a bit of a just due and just focusing on that initial turn night instead of looking at the turn as a whole. Because if we're just looking at that turn as a whole, that's not even in my top 5. Like, that was an horrendous, like, as far as worst moments of the year, that would be on that list, but not moments of the year. As the second one, my second moment of the year, as it is Katsuhiko Nakajima turning on Go Shiozaki, breaking up Axis. Holy shit. Alright, so this is where a turn is fucking perfect. The turn itself, unnecessary, right? This, you'd say Go Shizuki, he says, why did Kazuka Nakajima, why did he turn like that? If he would have asked, I would have gave him a title shot. But yet he turns, he joins Kongo, he joins Kano, and he wins the N1 victory. You set that up perfectly. You're like, alright, he turned, let's hope he wins the N1 victory so they have the match. He wins the fucking N1 victory. And I wanted him to win the match, as you all know. I wanted him to win the match against Go and beat him. But he doesn't. He doesn't beat him, and it was still a phenomenal moment. Because I think him and Keno is a great member of Kongo. I think that really elevates Kongo to another level, too. But man, Axis were a great fucking team. They were a tremendous team as far as Japanese pro wrestling goes. I mean, phenomenal talent that they had. They were a great fucking team. They really were. I mean, 2 guys that are great, just amazing heavyweights in the Japanese pro scene. They joined together. It was perfect. They did a really great job on that run. I think they're one of the greatest Japanese pro tag teams of all time, and that's kind of crazy to say, as they were just pretty much like a 2-year run, if that. But I mean, they were fantastic as far as together. Unbelievable team. As they were, I mean, we'll talk about kind of more later on, as they're going to be a lot more on this list going forward. But just for the moment of the year when Nakajima turned on Go Shiozaki and breaking up Axis, that's how you do a turn right there. And obviously, Evil and Naito, that's how you not do a turn. As the number 1 moment of the year, Jushin Thunder Liger retires. My God, talk about the farewell of a legend. Kind of crazy that 2020 we saw the farewell of Jushin Thunder Liger. Then here in the States, The Undertaker. I mean, 2 characters that have pretty much have been around the same time. Jushin Thunder Liger was 1989, and The Undertaker obviously 1990. Just men that have been throughout the years. Jushin Thunder Liger, on the other hand, was the right decision to retire when he should. Undertaker should have done it, years ago. But that's neither of them. It's still fun that they both retired at the same time. But this man, I mean, if you're going to do a Mount Rushmore Japanese pro res, he's on it for sure. He's the greatest junior heavyweight that's ever lived, in my opinion. He took what Satoya Sayama and Dynamite Kid did in the early 80s and took it to a whole new level and especially with Tiger Mask. It's, the anime character, and it's kind of wild how short of a time Tiger Mask was. It was a very short time, relatively speaking. And here we have Liger for fucking ever. I mean, unreal how awesome he was for his time. Even in his final matches, it was still awesome that he he wasn't like a shell of himself. He was starting to get there, but he didn't officially. It wasn't like Jesus, throwing the towel, man. It was still. I remember his last Best Super Juniors match in Korakuen against Hiromi. That match was fucking crazy. Stuff like that where you think about those matches in his last of matches, and they were great. They were unbelievable. God bless you, Thunder Liger. I mean, I'm not here today having a YouTube channel talking about Japanese pro wrestling if it wasn't for this man. He just, I mean, what he's done for a generation of fans, it's unbelievable. Because, I mean, what the junior heavyweight style did in the mid-90s specifically with the J-Cups really elevated and not really just broadened the horizons of what, American audience thought of the Super Junior style, and what just so many wrestlers today wrestle that style, and it's just unbelievable what he's done and how long he's been going at it. And he's really touched so many generations of fans now. It's just been unbelievable. All timer is Jushin Thunder Liger, no question about it. As far as my personal Mount Rushmore, he's definitely on there. I've not really said my personal Mount Rushmore before, but it's him, it's Eddie Guerrero, Mick Foley. I love Mick Foley to death. The fourth guy, it's a new person every day. I can never pinpoint my first person. Sometimes it's Austin, sometimes it's Bret Hart, sometimes it's Kenta Kobashi, sometimes it's Misawa. I mean, it's a new person every day. Sometimes it's Tanahashi. It's just it changes. It changes every day. So I just kind of make it a mystery fourth person. That's my three for sure locked in. Sometimes Rey Mysterio Jr. because I just think of how much he's elevated, or how much he, as well as kind of been such a phenomenal force, and as far as giving that generations and generations of fans and wrestlers wanting to get in the business because of him, and just but that's enough about my personal backstory. We're here to talk about the Marvelous Awards, as we're going on to the Rookie of the Year category, or the Young Lion of the Year. Some of these, in the past, it's kind of been, we've, talked about other Young Lions in the past, so kind of those, if you're on there once, you're kind of never used again, so that's kind of why we do that. As far as this year, we're going to talk about three specifically, as, kind of number 3 and number 2, and then we'll have our Rookie of the Year, in my opinion. We're talking about the first two, the third and the second. We'll talk about kind of why they are where they are instead of at number 1. As the third one is Hip Hop Kakuta, fucking 21 years old. He's a part of Red. He made his debut back in June of this year, so not even a full year, 6 months of experience. And the reason why, there's going to be a young lion who really is a young lion. And the Dragon Gate guys, even though they've been going at it for a year and, for Hip Hop Kakuta, 6 months, he has been unbelievable. Unbelievable, sure. But. The reason why he's kind of great on the curve, the Dragon Gate guys, because they're not treated as young lions. They are treated like they're part of the main roster, and because really they don't have them, do the bland style of, having a shaven head and black boots, black tights, and just kind of the young lion aesthetic. They are presented like an actual member of the roster. They they have a unique look. They do cool shit. It is he does with Discus Lariat, which is still not really crazy, but still, crazy enough to be like, alright, he's not really a young lion. But, being a part of Red, he's part of the Final Gate 10-man elimination match that we'll talk about later on. He's had a great run so far. I'm very, very impressed by him. It's young as hell. Again, we're going with Dragon Gate. They've pushed a lot of young guys. Shun Skywalker, really Red. There's been a lot of new guys in Red that have been fantastic, and that's just a great job by them, giving him that spotlight. At 21, and pulling off some of the matches he's had, he's done a great job. He's done a great job. He's been really, really a bright spot for Dragon Gate so far, as far as being a part of Red, as much as that stable has been throughout the year. Excited to see what he does in 2021. Just Dragon Gate in general has been just this new flavor of new guys coming in. It's got me really excited to see the product even more than I usually am. It's just exciting times for Dragon Gate. As the second person, the second Young Lion of the Year, the Rookie of the Year, is SB Kento, who is another Red member. He's 20 years old. He debuted last year in 2019 in December, so basically a full year now. He's had a great fucking run as well. He's, just 20 years old. He's already submitted a lot of big names, and, being a part of Red, again, they're doing a great fucking job getting these young kids over as hell. And he's another one that just looks like he's going to be a problem for Dragon Gate. As I just can't wait to see how Red does in these next couple of years with a lot of these young guys. They're doing a great fucking job. I can't wait for it. They opened the Triangle Gate that they are doing right now. They are currently the champions, as him, Kazuma Sakamoto and Takashi Yoshida, as part of Red, they won it back in November. They've just early on just doing great stuff, and so it's interesting how we're gonna go to our rookie of the year and the guy who's had 12 matches in this year. It is kind of odd to talk about when we're talking about SB Kento and talking about Hip Hop Kikuta, who has two guys. They've been a part of a big stable. They've SB Kento's a fucking champion for God's sakes. And then we got Yasutaka Yano, who I'm going to say is the Young Lion of the Year, the Rookie of the Year, simply because he is a Young Lion, simply because he does have the Young Lion characteristics. And it's kind of swayed in that vote, I know, for sure, because he hasn't won a match. He's done what a Young Lion, the Young Lion duties, if you will. But those guys, SB Kento and Hip Hop Kikuta, they definitely deserve to be talked about for sure. And realistically, those two are they've shown already how talented they are compared to Yasutaka Yano. But I think Yasutaka Yano has a lot of potential, and he's doing a lot of great things, especially in Pro Wrestling Noah, where they seem to be very much on the up and up. I think they surpassed New Japan as far as the Company of the Year. And for sure was Pro Wrestling Noah, and we'll talk about them more later on. But yeah, Yasutaka Yano is my Young Lion of the Year, my Rookie of the Year. It's the Dragon Gate guys got fucked, but it is what it is. They're part of the regular roster, and they're not really given that Young Lion type of role, so it is what it is. As we move on to the Most Improved category, the Most Improved of the Year, as we have 4 people in this category. Probably should have went with the odd 5, but we went with 4 just to kind of keep with it. So basically, 4, 3, 2, and then obviously the winner. So we could say 3 runner-ups and then a winner, just if you were to go like a category type of thing. As the 4th person that I'm putting on that I've put on my list is the Great Okan. Obviously, Great Okan, who was part of Excursion, much part of this year and last year as the Great O'Karen over there in the UK at Rough Pro. He's a guy who's just extremely talented. He's got the the martial arts background, got the amateur wrestling background. He is a bad motherfucker, a shooter, if you will. But man, that Great Okan, that gimmick is something that's just it's like fucking Oz from WCW. It's just ridiculous, but I'm gonna try to give him a shot. He's got a big time matchup coming up at Wrestle Kingdom against Tanahashi. I don't think that's going to go well for him at all. I think it's going to be very much like the Jay White matchup 2 years ago for the U.S. belt. And that's even going to be worse than that match. That match, as, they tried, but really Tanahashi was just didn't have that fire, didn't have that kind of will to make it a great match compared to what he did this year with him and Jericho, when you felt like he actually wanted to have that match. It just seems like that it's going to be set up for a disaster. Who knows, though? Maybe they will surprise us. But as far as, his year, debuting, attacking Okada with the fucking Iron Claw chokeslam. He had the match with Okada, and just being a part of Empire, and he was part of the World Tag League with, his mystery partner being Jeff Cobb. I got big hopes for him. I hope he does well. That gimmick sucks, but that's just my opinion on the matter. There's a lot of people think that gimmick's awesome, and, if you think that way, God bless you. You have your right to your opinion. But me, personally, I just think it's a goofy-ass gimmick. And, that's fine. There's a place maybe for goofy gimmicks. There was... there was the Captain New Japan. There's been worse gimmicks out there. He's not... By all means, he's very talented. I think he does a lot of unique shit, which will get him... Well, he'll get over for sure. But I think his longevity, it will be getting away from that gimmick as quickly as possible. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. As the next person on my most improved list, the third person, it is El Desperado. What a year Despy had. I loved El Desperado, and to have the year he had, it made me so happy. He was someone whose stock elevated for sure. Starting with that New Japan Cup match with Tomohiro Ishii, I was someone very much why did that match go on for so long? This man did not have, he was not at that level to have that type of match with Tomohiro Ishii, so it just didn't make any sense to me. Then he has that fucking Best Super Junior one. He basically, it leads the block going into the finals match against Hiromu. They lose to Hiromu in the finals, and he has an incredible matchup. It gets unmasked. It's this whole goddamn thing. So happy for him. As someone who loved him for years, I mean, way back when we debuted the Black Roses, that was about a fucking decade ago. I mean, he's been someone that I've loved and have enjoyed his work for years now. Happy that he finally got a shot to really showcase his skills and talent. And what a year to do it, we talk about guys being elevated because of the coronavirus and because there's not enough, there's not really anybody in the crowds throughout the year. That was the perfect time to do it, and they did it, I think, with El Desperado here, so that was good for them. Good for New Japan, and I'm so happy for him. He would, I think, for a lot of people, was probably higher on that list if you kind of wasn't really a fan of him, or if you wasn't really credited to what he was before this year. But I always loved El Desperado, so that's why he's not so high on my list compared to probably others. As the second person, the runner-up for the most improved of the year, it is Kaito Ishida, who is a part of Dragon Gate. This motherfucker can kick the shit out of you. I love Kaito Ishida. He is the goddamn man. As he is another one, a part of Dragon Gate, who has just risen through the ranks in 2020. And you can already sense a theme. It is another member of Red. I can't say enough about Red. Like, they have done a fantastic job of elevating so many young guys. They've been fantastic. And he's someone that I love. 25 years old, a kickboxing background. He's been at it for 5 years, but I think really this year he took that next step, in my opinion, as far as in the ranks of Dragon Gate or whatnot. He's got the crazy light hair extensions now, but man, he's just, fantastic. Another guy that this year Dragon Gate really elevated and really put a lot of money into the stock of the young talent, and they have, in my opinion, they have taken that opportunity and fucking ran with it. They've done a great job. And he is someone that, I was very hopeful. I know last year he was someone that really caught my eye. He seemed like very talented. He fucking, I love, very like Machizuki in the way he can kick. And I always love kickboxers, so that's someone, he warmed my heart immediately when I saw his work. But, man, he's going to be fucking awesome. Like, that Red's, I just can't speak enough about Red. As the man who won most improved of the year for me, it is Shun Skywalker. Talk about a man again. He won their, basically, Dragon Gate, at least, last year. They did the rookie ranking tournament, which is kind of like their, basically how New Japan's Young Lion Cup, they basically did that last year in January. And he won it all. He beat Kaito Ishida, and he was second, whereas Shun Skywalker was first. Man, he's been just, we've kind of talked about him more as far as moments of the year, but yeah, when he beat Ida and he just keeps it running, he's had a phenomenal year. Someone whose stock has skyrocketed from beginning of 2020 to the end of 2020. He's the fucking Brave Gate champion, for God's sakes. The man who is on top of the mountain in Dragon Gate has Shun Skywalker, young as hell too. Shun Skywalker, and just these young kids, man. These young guys. He's 24. He's younger than me. He is just the guys that they have in Dragon Gate right now have just been fantastic young guys. Sadly, his last title matchup had a nasty fucking spot where Ben K got knocked out with a sliding lariat, and because that really sucked, because that match was going really good. It was being that high level Dragon Gate main event, and he gets knocked out, and he's clearly knocked out, and the referee doesn't stop it because they have just a really poor job from the Dragon Gate staff of having not only a referee that didn't really should have known to stop the match right there, but and Shun Skywalker afterwards does a fucking moonsault on him, which a lot of people kind of gave Shun Skywalker a lot of shit for that. I personally think that was not his fault. You go through the motion, especially in those high spot matches where it's spot. You just go. Don't really think. You just kind of do your spot and you do it. not really looking at him. Really should have been done. And fucking Kaisi goes in there, and he's basically like the part-time fucking like medic for the show. And it's like, we need like an actual doctor there, guys. Like, you need someone to take care of these guys, especially Dragon Gate, where the style is so high-paced, so fast. A lot of things could go wrong. You really need like someone, like a dedicated member of like the medical team, to like be at ringside for a lot of those matches. So that was very scary. But as far as Shun Skywalker, like that, the year he's had, it's been fantastic. I mean, and it's only been a short fucking time though too. I mean, really, he was part of IWRG for most of the year. He comes back in November for the fucking Kobe, the final festival, and beats Ida, has a match with Dragon Kid, has a really good match with Suzumu Yokosuka, and they have like multi-man matches against Ben K to leading up to the Ben K matchup. It's going to be interesting to see how he does in 2020, because, really 2019, he was having a lot of high-profile matches. From winning the rookie ranking tournament, he takes on Ben K. But around that same time of that rookie ranking tournament, takes on Pac. He takes on Machizuki, and he took on Kaisi. Just a lot of big-time matchups that year to really set up for this 2020 run. Just a great job all around. I mean, really one of the best guys under the age of 25, probably, in the world. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. The sky's the limit for Shun Skywalker. That is for fucking sure. As far as now the next category, for the Marvelous Awards, it is the Stable of the Year. We've talked about the stable so much in this fucking, in this Marvelous Awards, so you know what's coming. It's Red. Unbelievable year. Unbelievable year. How they've elevated, how they've basically been the top stable, in my opinion, in Japanese pro wrestling. They were, without a doubt, the biggest and the best stable of the year. You could say Sujiwara Gun, with how Takashi Sujiwara and Kazushi Sakuraba did as far as the GHC tag division and whatnot, but Red was all over the place. They've done such a phenomenal job. Unbelievable. Hats off to fucking Dragon Gate on that one. They've done a great job of elevating a stable. I mean, Red was great when it had Pac and they were doing their thing, but nothing like this. I mean, just Ida's done a great job. There's been so many guys. I'm just like, what a great fucking run they've had. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Probably one of my favorite Dragon Gate stables of all time. Is it going to beat, like, Matt Belenky and fucking Crazy Max and even Team Toyman? Who knows? Or, there's just been a Muscle Outlaws. Probably not. But it's going to be talked about. We'll see. Well, I guess the jury's out still on Red as far as where they're going to line up for all time-wise in Dragon Gate for me, but they've been fantastic. Simply fantastic. Hats off to them. As hopefully a great 2021 for them. As for my tag team of the year, so we've kind of went through, I think the first year we did like 7 or 8. We just kind of talked about it because there was a lot of tag teams at the time. Well, I think the last year we did maybe 5, maybe 4. Maybe we just did 1. I can't really remember off the head. I know it's kind of sad to say. But this year we're just going to do 1 because of COVID, and I think because just to not talk about the same teams over and over again. And in my opinion, the tag team of the year is Sujiwara Gun of Takashi Sujiwara and Kazushi Sakuraba. Yeah, I mean, as far as the tag division this year was not as great as it was in years past. Obviously, last year we had the Violence Giant Strong Big Japan, really the mini trilogy, if you will. I don't think they even had a trilogy. I think they just had the 2 matches. I think they had the Big Japan match and the All Japan match. Yeah, they did. So, but those 2 matches were fantastic, of course. This year, as far as the tag team of the year goes, I think really Noah is going to run away for a lot of years with this award. Seems like Kaito Kiyomiya and Yoshiki Inamura, which Yoshiki Inamura got, 2 young guys. Those 2 are going to be fantastic together, and I can't wait to see how they do in 2021 together as kind of a full-time team. If they, go down that path. But it's going to be awesome for sure to see the GHC tag team division scene in 2021. But they've done a great job. Talk about two guys that had great 2021 or 2020s rather. Jesus, Takashi Sugiura and Kazushi Sakuraba. Obviously, we'll talk about Takashi Sugiura more in a little bit when it comes to the match of the year category. But Kazushi Sakuraba, he had one of the best below 10-minute main events of the year. I mean, him and Go beat the fucking shit out of each other, and that is Japanese pro wrestling, ladies and gentlemen. When just two heavyweights are just beating the fuck out of each other, and obviously Sakuraba's a legend. Takashi Sugiura is a legend. I mean, 50 years old and he's still going. Unbelievable. That Noah roster, God bless them. You have the young kids and you have the old guard that are just badass motherfuckers, and we're in pride. You have Sakuraba, you got Kazuki Fujita, you got Takashi Sugiura. Just awesome fucking roster they've had, and they've really molded throughout the years. As now the next category, we're going on to what used to be the top 10 juniors of the year, and we've done in the past. And as I said before in the beginning of this video, with COVID, we're just gonna do top 5, just because there wasn't that much to really talk about as far as in the years past, so we're gonna shorten the list down a little bit. As we have our fifth one, Koji Iwamoto, the man who is the All Japan Triple Crown, oh my god, that's the All Japan Triple Crown, the man who is the All Japan Junior Heavyweight Champion, as he had some fun fucking matches for that Junior Heavyweight title. His match with Akuta Hidaka was fantastic. When he beat fucking Yokozuka for the belt, that was awesome. He's had matches with Minoru Tanaka. He's had some great matches throughout this year. I've loved his reign. I love him as a junior. He's so very different compared to a lot of juniors you see today. Very mat-based. You have the judo background. He's fucking awesome. I love him to death. Can't get enough of Koji Iwamoto. As far as the 4th junior of the year, we've talked about this man already. He was part of the most improved of the year. It is El Desperado. His best Super Junior run definitely cements him on this list. He had a fantastic run. Will he be on this list again in 2021? Who knows? I think he should elevate into the, open middleweight, or not the open middleweight, just the never open weight scene and see how he does there. That's just kind of my opinion. We'll see, though. I'm sure with the junior division at New Japan, I feel like it's getting smaller and smaller by the minute. Maybe he'll stay around next year. We shall see. As for the third man on this list, it is Sho Tanaka. God bless him. A man who just flew through the rankings last year with his matches with Shingo. Here again, he has another great run in the best Super Juniors. His match with Hiromu was fantastic. His matches with Ishimori were fantastic. He had a great fucking year. I mean, just unbelievable. Unreal. I would love to see him in a G1. I can't wait for that day to come, because he's going to kill it. Unbelievable year. For him, as my second junior of the year, it is Taiji Ishimori. Taiji Ishimori had a great year. And he beat Hiromu at the baseball stadium show, the Jinju Stadium show. He had some great matches with Hiromu. He had some great matches in the Best Super Junior. I think him and Taguchi had a really great match in the Best Super Juniors. As he is always, from his really debut in New Japan as being the new Bone Soldier, he's had a great run. His match with Hiromu specifically, the finals match 2 years ago, was fantastic. And just, he's had a great run. Great run for sure. And of course, probably no surprise here, the fucking junior of the year is Hiromu Takahashi. So happy for him. His first full year back since his injury. He made his return back at the Power Struggle last year. So his first full year, unbelievable. It's so awesome to see him back in the junior division. I can't wait for the day he elevates into the Intercontinental heavyweight scene. I would have loved to see him in Naito. That's another thing that 2020 took away from us, was that match. He just a fantastic year. From him, the Ospreay match at Wrestle Kingdom, all the way to the end with his Best Super Junior final match with El Desperado. He just had great matches after great matches throughout the year. Unbelievable. Hats off to him. He's the best junior heavyweight in the world right now, in my opinion, and I don't think it's close, to be honest. The guy has everything. He's charismatic as hell. He can work pretty much any style. I know he works the best Super Junior style, but I think he can work a heavyweight style. He had a great match with Ishii at the New Japan Cup. Just fantastic. Fan-fucking-tastic year he had. Can't say enough about him. He's the goddamn man, the time bomb. Hiromu Takahashi, God bless him. As now we're going on to the show of the year category. And it's we're now going into the 10 category. We're going into things that have 10 nominations. As we're going to start with 10 again. We have first time we're going to talk about this promotion in this video. It is DDT. It's Ultimate Party 2020. What a show this was, DDT Ultimate Party. From the main event with Tetsuya Endo defeating Daisuke Sasaki, who, two great DDT talents as Tetsuya Endo, God bless him. Jun Akiyama and Konosuke Takeshita. I cannot believe Jun Akiyama won that match, but just unbelievable that, Konosuke Takeshita is one of the best in the world, I think, as far as, especially in DDT, him and Tetsuya Endo. I think Tetsuya Endo's one and Konosuke Takeshita's two. They are just fantastic talents. As the DDT Universal title match with Chris Brooks, you had Shima and Soma Takeo taking on Disaster Box, which is Hiroshima and Naomichi Marufuji. I love Hiroshima, and I obviously love Naomichi Marufuji. That match was a lot of fun. You had just the crazy fucking 4-way elimination 6-man tag, which was just an absolute clusterfuck. You had, Danishino Kodino doing his thing, as always. Mao, or as Mayo was on it. There was so many great DDT, and a year that we desperately needed some comedy with some great fucking matches, and just great stuff. They had a lot of great shows this year, and I think Ultimate Party was a great way to end the year for them. Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Their roster really is. They have a lot of talented guys. I'm very, very happy, thanks to Wrestling Universe and their showcase of DDT. I think a lot more and more people, because back in the day, when I'd ever try to talk about DDT to people, they kind of just think of it as a joke. They would, because they ran ECW Arena back. They had Dan Shinoko show up, and they do a lot of DDT stuff. But as far as last year they did their fucking New Orleans show during WrestleMania, and I think they're getting more and more people from the States getting more involved into it. Because when Kota Ibushi was there and was really, in Kenny Omega, and they had Generico there, they would have a lot of great, when Kota Ibushi was in the Tetsuya Endo role, it's kind of like the wrestler ace, as I would always say. There was Dan Shinoko and there'd be comedy guys, and Yoshiko and whatnot, but you would have and Senshiro Takagi, of course, as the owner and whatnot, but you'd have Kota Ibushi having these great fucking matches in DDT, and Tetsuya Endo has really taken that role of being the wrestler ace, and he's had phenomenal matches throughout this year, and we're going to talk about more of those later on, but just, you could see it with this show, it was fantastic. A fantastic display by DDT. As the number 9 show of the year, it is the Champion Carnival Finals for All Japan. Obviously, Kenta Miyahara and Zeus, when those two, when they are in the ring, they make some magic, and they made some magic that night in the finals, Zeus winning the Champion Carnival. A pretty fun Champion Carnival. I think in years past, there's been better ones, but with COVID, it happens with the change of schedule and kind of the smaller blocks. I think it hurt it, but it is what it is. I think it was still a good finals for sure. As my 8th show of the year, it is the New Japan Climax Day 17 show, which was basically the last of the block show, where you had Tomohiro Ishii spoiling Jay White from winning his block. You had Ibushi and Tai Chi, which I thought that was a great fucking match. You had Shingo and Suzuki, and you had Okada and Ospreay, for what that's worth. It's fucking a great fucking match. And again, Tomohiro Ishii proving, in my opinion, with this run he had, I've said this, I think his decade from 2010 to 2020, I think he proved that he's the best G1 Climax performer of all time. He's had some of the best G1 matches I've ever fucking seen, some of the best wrestling matches I've ever seen, some of the best Japanese pro wrestling heavyweight matches I've ever seen. He has had a fantastic run this, basically decade on. It's been fantastic. And I just can't think of a man who, a 10-year run in a G1 quite like that man has. It's just been fantastic. You could make a best of comp of just the G1s and you'd just be blown away. You'd just be like, how the fuck does this man do this for a decade on? Unbelievable stuff. As I mean, that Jay White match, just fantastic. They're just fucking unreal stuff. Loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. What a show! What that is what the G1 Climax is all about. Is that right there? Shit like that. When you're having someone being the spoiler. Loved it. As the seventh show of the year, it is DDT Live, Manji Manji Roji Wrestling in Sayama Super Arena. So this was like the first big Japanese show that happened, or Japanese pro wrestling show rather, that happened after everything got shut down from COVID. So this was back in March, and you desperately needed this. Like this was just like kind of the realization of it's not going to be all so bad, but it really was so bad. But this was like a glimmer of hope. They're like, well, at least DDT can still do their fun, wacky, goofy shit throughout 2020, and with COVID going on. That was just a really pick-me-up show for me. It was just like, you know what, we might be locked inside, but at least we got some DDT to watch. And the more you kind of see more shows of the year with DDT, you kind of, I've always kind of looked back and been like, the more DDT I watch, the more I kind of had like a somber year. Like I just needed some laughs and needed some fucking something to take me away from the misery. And this was it. You see, there's going to be a lot of DDT on this list. So that just kind of shows you that sometimes you just need to take a minute, just be like, I need an escape. And Japanese pro wrestling can be that for, it is for me at least. And, when I'm feeling blue, when I'm feeling like I'm stuck inside, I gotta do something with my time, let's watch some Japanese pro wrestling. It's always a fun time, and especially with DDT, you get some laughs along the way. So that was awesome. That was a good pick-me-up show for me, so that's why it's on this list. As the sixth show, it's another DDT show, the last DDT show I'm going to talk about, and that's DDT WrestlePan, which is day 2 specifically. So this was actually on free during Wrestling Universe, kind of like during the holidays, so that was fun. I hope everyone, if you wanted to see the show, you got to see it then, because that was awesome. I saw it when it happened, but it was awesome to kind of rewatch this again, especially for the show of the year. But specifically, we'll talk about the match that was huge for this. Actually, it's not on. Oh no, it is. I think it's. I'm looking through my list. No, okay, so I can't talk about it now. So this had Masato Tanaka and Tetsuya Endo, which that match was fucking awesome. I mean, talk about a guy, Masato Tanaka. Since fucking 1998, I've loved this man. It's just fantastic that almost 20 years later, he's still fucking awesome. He's still doing high-profile matches. He had a great match with Tetsuya Endo. That show is just a lot of fun. That's another great DDT show where it has everything. It's got great wrestling, it's got great comedy, it's got great everything. It's a great show. Love it to death. Can't praise it enough. As we're going now into the top 5, as it is the 5th show on my list. It is Noah the Best, the Final Chronicle, which this show was the match, or which was they had the match, the main event, the GHC heavyweight title match of Ogo Shiozaki and Takashi Tsuchiura. Unbelievable. I mean, we'll talk about more, obviously, later on when we talk about the matches of the year. But yeah, I mean, this had to be on this list as the 4th show of the year. It is the New Japan G1 Climax Day 13 show, which had Kota Ibushi, Minoru Suzuki, and of course, Kazuchika Okada and Shingo Takagi. 2 matches that were fucking awesome. We'll talk about kind of Kota Ibushi, Minoru Suzuki. I mean, Minoru Suzuki and Tomohiro Ishii both had great G1s this year. It's kind of tell which one had a better one. You could really go tick for tat. But, I mean, Minoru Suzuki had a great fucking G1. That Kota Ibushi match was fantastic, though. That was a great match that hopefully everyone saw. Just fantastic stuff. And, of course, the Kazuchika Okada-Shingo Takagi match, in my opinion, was the best G1 match of the year. That was better than the final match, which is kind of crazy, as we're so far... I mean, spoiler alert for this list, I don't have the finals on my show of the year. That's probably the first time, like, in the 3 years we've done this, that I've never had either the show that was the finals or the match of the year that was the finals. Nothing. Not on it. Just wild. Wild to me. I felt like it had reached the point where now the finals are just too convoluted and too long and just the whole thing. But, just my opinion. As the 3rd show of the year for me, it is Noah 20th anniversary. It is the Volume 4. It is the Chronicle. Of course, the main event. Go Shiozaki and Katsuhiko Nakajima. Dear God, this match is fantastic. Everything we've talked about from the moments of the year, from the turn to the build, from the N1 victory to the actual match, just fantastic. And the show was also really a lot of fun. You had the Keno Kaito Kiyomiya match for the GC National title. You had the tag title matchup of Sujiura Gun and the M Alliance of Masakatsu Funaki and Naomichi Marufuji. You had even the junior title match, which I thought was a solid little junior matchup and an upset in my opinion with Stinger getting the win. But man, that main event just fan fucking tastic. Chef's kiss, as far as that match goes. Still thought the wrong guy won, but that's neither here nor there. And it's kind of crazy because maybe I know a lot of people thought the Final Chronicle show was better, but I personally think that this Volume 4 show was better than the Know the Best Chronicle show that happened the next month. But it's a tick for tat, really, on what you want to go with. But as far as now, we're down to the final two, and I think y'all know what the final two is going to be. So we got Wrestle Kingdom 14 Night 2. Yeah. You kind of know which is going to be the show of the year, and number 1 and number 2. But yeah, Night 2, I felt like Night 1 was better as far as a whole. I know a lot of people might have thought differently about that, but the year itself, it's so crazy that was this year. It just seems like a lifetime ago now when you're thinking about it. It's just wild. It's wild, but I think as far as a whole, Wrestle Kingdom 14, it was the first time they did the split. First time it did, 2 nights, which I still think's a mistake. I still think you don't need 2 nights, but I get it. I just think night 1, you had the junior match, whereas night 2, you had the not really that a match that was on that level. I think, in my opinion, it felt like you had the 2 great matches on night 1, but you only had the main event really night 2. Because the Jericho Tanahashi match was what it was. I think it was a very good co-main event, but I don't think it was at the level of co-main events in the past. With Wrestle Kingdom. It was, it is what it is when it comes to comparing both nights. It is kind of, it's interesting. It's interesting for sure. As far as now, the show of the year, that would be night 1. Night 1, you had, I thought the Jon Moxley-Lance Archer match was a great change of pace match from the tag title matchup. You had the Hiromu Ospreay match, which as much as Will Ospreay has now become a fuckface, before he was known as a fuckface, that really was an incredible junior matchup. Naito and Jay White, which I felt like got surpassed by the junior heavyweight title matchup, and then of course in the main event, which I thought was honestly a better match than the Naito Okada matchup. That's just me personally. I love that match to death. It's perfect. I think it's going to set up for Wrestle Kingdom 15 now with Kota Ibushi. The man, he's done it all. But now, when Wrestle Kingdom 15 comes around, hopefully he walks out of there as a fucking double champion. He will now have had every title. Fingers crossed that happens. But yeah, show of the year. I still, as a whole, I think Wrestle Kingdom shouldn't be 2 nights. I think it's convoluted. I think the double belts is still convoluted. There's a lot of things that are just convoluted with New Japan, I think, as far as a whole. That is my show of the year list. Now we're going on to the match of the year. As we're starting with number 10, it is Red versus Toryumon, the no disqualification 10-man tag elimination. Loser must disband match. I love it. Loved it. Loved every second of it. I love the loser must disband tag team matches that Dragon Gate has done, whether it's the 6-man, it's the 8-man, here we see a 10-man. Just awesome. Just awesome stuff. There is nothing like Lucha-esque multi-man matches. There's really nothing like it. It's just a whole nother flavor. It's a whole other fucking thing. Awesome match, though. Awesome fucking match, and Red reigns supreme. Great. Just great stuff. Great fucking stuff. The 9th match of the year for me is Tomohiro Ishii versus Jay White, the G1 matchup. I only have 2 G1 matches on my list. I think in years past we've had a couple more, but with no finals match either on this list. There's been kind of crazy, even with COVID-19. running rampant and kind of shrinking down the schedule from years past. Obviously, we're used to having a full schedule now. This year, we kind of shrunk it down a whole lot. But now, with this year, there's still a lot of great fucking matches, specifically Japanese Pro Wrestling heavyweight matches. There was just so, I mean, the degree is from. We'll talk about kind of more throughout this video how great a lot of these heavyweight matchups were. As with Kento Miyahara and Suwama, this is my 8th matchup. It is the All Japan Champion Triple Crown title matchup. Kento Miyahara, the reign comes to an end from Suwama, shockingly, and I want to say this was either post. I want to say this was March 31st. I want to say something like that, the end of March. This was post COVID. And just when you thought the world was going to get even weirder, and Suwama having his 7th reign as the Triple Crown champion, just nuts. It's a fun match, though. Kento Miyahara, God bless him. As the next matchup, the 7th matchup on my list, it is Go Shiozaki versus Keno from the 20th anniversary No Other Chronicle Volume 3 show. The 60-minute time limit matchup, my God. We'll talk about Go Shiozaki, kind of his reign more in depth, but this match specifically, fair fucks to him. The thing that hurt this match the most was that Kaiji Muto had to work 28 minutes before this matchup. If they would have had a short, 10-minute match that went on before this match could have been even Match of the Year candidate. It's still, it was 7th on my list. I mean, still a great matchup, by all means. Still a great fucking matchup. And I think when you look at the scope of Go Shiozaki's reign, I mean, Jesus Christ, what a reign it's been. But this match really, I mean, it's hard to pinpoint where the start was, because, I mean, what a great fucking reign. I'm speechless thinking about it. He had an incredible 2020. But that match really was when a lot of people were turning their heads wow, he's going the distance on a lot of these fucking matches. As the next matchup, as this is the, I believe, 6th matchup on my list, is the Champion Carnival Finals, Kento Miyahara and Zeus. Yeah, when these two get in the ring, it's magic. Wild. Just another great fucking matchup. Zeus getting the win, which I love. I think Zeus, as far as their history has gone, I think Zeus has won more than Kento Miyahara has, which I love that. That's very... You need the kind of big monster to win a lot of times, and I think he's definitely done that. A lot of big-time matches Zeus has won, and that's just against Kento Miyahara, and that's the monster booking. You love it from All Japan. That's a risky fucking move, but I think Zeus has come a long fucking way throughout the years. And really, with Kento Miyahara, he's elevated him to a whole nother degree, as Kento Miyahara has with Zeus, to get him to that level of a main event caliber All Japan guy. Awesome job by him. As the 5th matchup on my list, it is Shingo Takagi versus Kazuchika Okada from the G1. I mean, yeah, this is the match I got the money clip over, so of course it has to go high on this list. We're so excited to see this match. Shingo Takagi has had a phenomenal 2020. Kazuchika Okada, the first time the full year, from Wrestle Kingdom 14 to by the end of Wrestle Kingdom 15, he will not have had a title match. He hasn't been the New Japan champion. This has been a year where he has been outside that title scene, and I think he benefited. Even just obviously when we talk about his kind of matches of the year, we got this match, but then you have the Wrestle Kingdom matches, which it's kind of cheating because really you get 2 back-to-back all-time great matches in the year, when really most of the times it should just be 1 matchup, but you get the 2 thanks to it being 2 separate nights. But here we are, with Kazuchika Okada still being one of the best in the world. Even he tried to get that dumbass money clip over, and that New Japan Cup run was horrendous. But the highs were high for Kazuchika Okada, I think, as far as this year in 2020, and that match is certainly one of them. It's my 4th match of the year. It's Go Shiozaki versus Takashi Sugiura from the Final Chronicle show, as the Final Chronicle show. Yeah, this is Japanese Pro Wrestling heavyweight right here. This is what it's all about. 2 men, 2 beefy boys, beating the absolute shit out of each other. The sweat flying off the chops. 2 men just hammering the fuck out of each other. It was awesome. Awesome fucking match. There's a lot of people that have this as the match of the year for them. I think it's a great fucking matchup. I think it is fantastic, and it goes to show that Go Shiozaki was the fucking man, and he was robbed of the Tokyo Sports MVP, if you ask me. He had a fantastic year. I don't think there's anybody had a better year than him. And for Takashi Sugiura to have that type of matchup, awesome, awesome matchup for both guys. Loved it. Please go watch that match if you haven't watched it. It's awesome. And again, a testament to both guys. Takashi Sugiura, 50 years old, and they win about 50 minutes. Fantastic. Fantastic for him. As my third match of the year, it is Kazuchika Okada versus Tetsuya Naito from Night 2 of Wrestle Kingdom 14. Yeah, I mean, what is there to say? I mean, they fucked it up the first time with Naito and Okada. Well, not really the first time, the second time. They fucked it up as far as, well, I guess you could say the first time them in the main event, but they fucked it up the second time. Finally, you get it. You have Naito beating Okada in a great matchup. And then right afterwards, Kenta attacks Naito. And then the world just is destroyed after they have their match at New Beginning. The world has changed forever. COVID-19 runs rampant, and New Japan changes drastically with it, not running shows for months. You come back in June, you do the New Japan Cup, Eva wins, you have the turn, and Naito loses, and it completely just sucks the wind completely out of that Naito reign that what could have been. You had a man who looked like it was primed to finally, Gedo was going to give him that opportunity to run with the ball and have a great 2020, but just fucking gets ruined from COVID. And then you have the Evil turn. Then they had their trilogy that should not have happened. Well, not even trilogy. Their fucking series of matches that were overbooked to hell. Interference is slow. It sucked. The matches, as far as compared to what everybody else was doing, was not at the level of what a main event heavyweight title match should be. Especially what was going on with Pro Wrestling Now at the time. It felt very B League to what Noah was doing. And that's how I look at Japanese Pro Wrestling as kind of a whole when I'm rating and kind of overall thinking of the Marvelous Awards at the end of the year. Just kind of like what was the company that set the standard, then what was really doing great shit and was doing stuff that was not only innovative but was doing stuff that was head and shoulders above everybody else. And it really felt like Pro Wrestling Noah was doing that, especially during the back half, the COVID months of 2020. It's night and day compared to what you see New Japan before COVID, after COVID. You could give them an excuse and be like, well, I mean, they changed a lot of shit. They were trying to do a lot of different things. This is going to be the first year, Wrestle Kingdom 15. It's going to be the first time the main event is not involving Hiroshi Tanahashi or Kazuchika Okada since 2010. 10 years. We have not had a main event that not feature one of those two men, and we're finally getting a change. And maybe not even finally. I think a lot of people love Kazuchika Okada in the main event title scene. So it's just kind of where they're at with New Japan right now. It kind of shows where they're going. But we're going to go with the second match of the year quickly as Kazuchika Okada, Kota Ibushi, Wrestle Kingdom Night 1. Yeah, this match was fan-fucking-tastic. I love both these men. Two of my favorites right now in New Japan for sure. I mean, you could say probably Shingo 1, Okada 2, Ibushi 3 probably. Maybe Ibushi 2, Okada 3. It's as far as like going into 2021, who I'm excited to see and what I'm excited for them to do. I'd say Ibushi's probably higher than Okada right now as far as excitement goes for what he's going to do in 2021. Just a great fucking matchup. Okada getting the win. It's just... That match was so fucking awesome. It really was. It felt like it was kind of the last, that night, Wrestle Kingdom, obviously. Those were the last big-time main events. It really did feel like the big fight feel. That was it. That was the only time I really felt like New Japan was having a big-time main event. It's sad. But that's where we were. Because Dominion, it was just like, what the hell's Evil wearing? What the hell's this? Just a lot of what the hell's going on, and constant interferences and whatnot. Yeah, there's no interference. It's just two of the very best going at it. That's what it should all be about at the end of the day in Japanese pro wrestling heavyweight matches. And it's just not that anymore for New Japan. They've went, in my opinion, too far to the west. When Bullet Club was doing their thing with interferences in 2011, 2012, 2013, really is kind of, well, not really 2011, 2013, Jesus Christ. Not 2011, 2013. When they started Bullet Club, and they were doing interferences, and people were calling the New Japan office because they were so irate and so pissed off about it. It was fresh, it was new, it was this Western thing, it was the NWO Japan of the mid and late 90s coming alive with the Western guys doing it. A strict Western stable, and then you had the race straight of Ujiro, and it was just this whole. It felt like it. Everything meant something at the end of the day when they interfered. It wasn't constant. It just felt like they were doing it once, or even when the big time matchups and whatnot. But still, at the end of the day, there was a lot of times that the interference they would when there was a big time matchup, whether it be like Prince Devitt, Kazuchika Okada would overcome it or stuff like that. With fucking what Bullet Club's doing right now, it's a complete clusterfuck. Complete clusterfuck. You have the Jay White matches. You're gonna have interference with Geto. Got the Evil matches. You're gonna have interference Dick Togo. You got the Kenta matches. You're gonna have interference by probably God or somebody. God, you're gonna have interference. With in the tag. It's just so. It's too much. It really is too much, and they've gotten so big, and they've got it. It's just too much what they're doing in the main event scene. Because when it was, at the initial stages, when you're just having Devitt and Carl Anderson as kind of like your main event level guys in New Japan, when you have the original 4, and then you get the 5, you get the 6, and you get the Bucks, and this whole thing, then you get Omega, and then you had the change with AJ with Devitt, and it's just it became, even when Adam Cole joined, it just became bigger and bigger. It started to become like NWO 98 and WCW. It just felt like you had 10, 20 guys in there. Especially now, it's going to be so big. Changes need to happen with Bullet Club. That's the biggest thing. It's 7 years now. It's time for a fucking change. Please, for the love of God, change what they're going on. If New Japan wants to come back as the top, I mean, they've had a great run though. Let's just take a moment to step back and think of what New Japan has done. So many Western fans have jumped aboard from the beginning of the decade when they're running All Japan, or not All Japan, when they were running Jersey All Pro tours, and they crowned the first Intercontinental Champion in like 2011. They were running Murphy Rec Centers and gymnasiums, and they were drawing 500 people, probably, maybe 1,000 if they're lucky. To running at the end of the decade, where they're running Madison Square Garden, and they're running these big shows, and they're running these big arenas. The product, I always thought, was there, and you just needed more and more eyes on the product. From back when they were doing stuff on fucking on Ustream back in the day. You had to buy a package on Ustream. You get all the G1s for like $150, $120, something like that. To where we're at now, where you get 999 yen, you get fucking all the G1, for that month. It's just nuts. Just it's a wild ride they've had. We've had some great matches. We've had some great moments, and we've had some great characters come and go. We've had really the rise. Really, Bullet Club. When Prince Devitt was doing the paint stuff, Wrestle Kingdom against Kota Ibushi. When he made the big paint debut, really, it's kind of crazy looking back because he's just kind of walking. There's not a lot of pomp and circumstance to it. He's just walking like he's like a dead zombie or something because he's really fucking sick. He had like 101 fever at that show. It was like he even made it to the show. But if you kind of look back on it, at the time watching the show I was going into the end of my freshman year. Yeah, I was going to the end of my freshman year, and I was gonna miss school the next day because I was gonna be up till like 7 a.m. I just was sitting there thinking, like, as he's making that walk, it's just like, man, this, like, everyone's gonna be talking about this. Like, it just felt like the first time where this was going to be broadcasted to a bigger stage. And even then, it took a couple of years maybe for a lot of people. I think really once Bucks and Kenny, and really even with AJ Styles in like 2000, when AJ did jumped in, when Devitt got out, and when he went to NXT, a lot of people maybe got introduced to what New Japan was doing even. And even when Nakamura probably went to NXT, a lot of more people, joined up with New Japan. But they've had an incredible run, being the top Japanese pro wrestling promotion. I remember when Kendo Miyahara was really rising to fame. It really felt like All Japan might have a chance to run at the table, but really, Pro Wrestling Noah had a tremendous 2020. I think they were the promotion of the year. In this match of the year, Katsuhiko Nakajima versus Go Shiozaki, for me, my match of the year. The wrong guy went over, and it's still my match of the year. Like, just Go Shiozaki and Katsuhiko Nakajima, two men that I have loved for over a decade now, easily. Easily. I mean, probably for Nakajima, it's been at least probably 15, maybe not 13 years. 2007, 2008, when he was with Kensuke Office. I mean, he was like a 16-year-old kid, and just was awesome then. He was a prodigy. He really was a prodigy in front of our own eyes, even back then. And with Go Shiozaki, another one that has been around for as long as Nakajima has. I mean, being a part of Pro Wrestling Noah, and he was, I believe he did either Harley Race Camp, or they had him go to a Harley Race Camp, something like that, in like 2008, something like that. And he even had like a dark match, I think. I know Morishima did. I know Morishima had a dark match with WWE, but I think Go had one as well. In like 2009, 2010, something like that. It's so wild to think about that now. But Go, even then, I thought Go was awesome. He had like a G1 run. He had a match at Wrestle Kingdom. I believe it was that. It was him and Goto? I want to say it was him and Goto. That was just fantastic. He's had a great decade as well, I think, really, if you think about it. Really, at the beginning, in 2008, 2009, when he was starting to get his feet, really wet, he was kind of more of like Kenta Kobashi's kind of like hand-picked, like chosen one. Even then, the crowd kind of turned on him there at the beginning. Think of that Noah crowd in the mid to late 2000s was still wanting the All Japan guys of old. But, I mean, you had Kenta, you had Go Shiozaki, you had Morishima. In my opinion, 3 stars in the making for sure. Just, and Takashi Tsujiura too. A young star in the making. Just 4 guys, and Naomichi Marufuji too. I mean, your top 5 guys into the new decade, I think, and just the crowd loved Marufuji and Kenta for sure because of the matches. Go Shiozaki took him a while. Takeshi Morishima, it took him a while. Takeshi Morishima took him a while to kind of get to that level where they loved him, and then once they did love him, he sadly had to retire. And it just the rise and almost fall of Pro Wrestling Noah when New Japan almost was like helping him book, and they were doing Suzuki Gun interferences, much like you see with a 2020 Bullet Club. That times like 10 is what it felt like in Noah 2017-16 with Suzuki Gun. Suzuki Gun interferences at every main event. It was the fucking worst. Crowds were down. They were running shows that had maybe 700 people there, 800 people there. It was awful. I thought for sure Noah was going to have to close down and New Japan was going to buy him out. It just seemed like it was going to be the end. I even had a video lined up, a mini documentary that was going to be the rise and fall of Pro Wrestling Noah. I had it lined up. The fucking script was set, and then I was like, well, looks like I'm going to have to change that to the rise, fall, and rise again. Afterwards, when they left, when Jado stopped booking there, really 2000, I want to say 18, they started changing their ways and changing the way they were doing things. 2019, for sure, they took that extra step. They got bought out again. They changed the colors. They changed the fucking mat. It was a changing of the guard. And here we stand at 2020 in an incredible reign by Go Shiozaki with some incredible fucking title matches. Just unbelievable. Unbelievable year they've had. My hat's off to them. They've had a tremendous year. As now we're going on to the top 10 wrestlers of the year in 2020. We're starting with number 10, Tetsuya Endo. Tetsuya Endo, being a DDT ace, the wrestler ace, as we've talked about earlier, I give his spot a lot more importance as a member of that roster compared to like a Hiroki Goto or Tomohiro Ishii even. when you're the ace of a smaller promotion, you have a big responsibility to give more eyes, to get more eyes on your product, to get more eyes on the DT product. I think he's done a tremendous job with that, with tremendous matches with Masada Tanaka, WrestlePan, and with Daisuke Sasaki. I mean, just fantastic matches those two were. His match with Konosuke Takeshita in last year was fantastic. Both those two men have done a fantastic job. I can't wait till they have matches with Chris Brooks, and Chris Brooks kind of gets more and more repetitions, against more and more matches under his belt to kind of get to that level of talent. But I mean, Tetsuya Endo, I think they're gonna have him and Drew Nakayama probably next, and I think that matchup is gonna be another banger. I think Tetsuya Endo can definitely bring that type of style with Drew Nakayama. It's just crazy that Drew Nakayama's still going. All the fucking Uncle June. It sucks that he left All Japan as the booker, but God bless him, he's still out there wrestling for Wrestle Universe. Firefox too, and I thought he was gonna go to WWE too. I thought he was gonna go to basically be like what was gonna be NXT Japan, and what was gonna, like Kendo Kashin went over there as like a coach. I thought for sure they were gonna get Jun Akiyama, and it seemed like he was having a send off, but dear God, that did not happen. That would have been a goddamn shame. He was like doing a lot of tweets in English. It seemed like they were prepping for that. But thank God that didn't happen. As for our 9th wrestler of the year, it is Tetsuya Naito. Poor Naito. Fucking just this poor man can't catch a break. He has a fantastic Wrestle Kingdom match with Okada. He finally gets this big main event spotlight. He gets the win. Kenta right after the match beats him down. He poses with his belts. Alright. Then he has his match with Kenta. It's pretty good. He beats him. Then fucking COVID happens. They wait, 3 months. The evil turn happens in June. He loses the belt to him. Has his G1 match with Tanahashi I thought was really, really good. I thought it was a fantastic G1 match, to be honest. I mean, those two always have great matches together. But really, besides that, kind of I wouldn't say subpar, but just kind of like an average G1, if I'd say so myself. And just the matches with Evil, he had the big win at Jinju Stadium. You kind of knew that was going to happen, with just the way the storytelling was going. But even that match, just the same formulaic shit. And, God, I just can't wait for that to be over with. It's still, will he ever get to the point where we have a phenomenal run as Tetsuya Naito as the champion? IWGP Heavyweight Champion specifically? Probably not. I mean, 2016 looked like it was going to be, alright, here's the start of LIJ. He's got this new thing going. He drops the belt to Okada and Dominion, and that starts the incredible reign. Looks like it's going to be a great year for him, 2020. Beats Okada. Looks like the year's on the up and up. He's going to beat Kenta, it's the whole thing. Beats him, and then COVID happens. This man just cannot catch a fucking break. Would I love for him to go to, like, Pro Wrestling No or All Japan at this point? Yes, I would love to see a mass exodus. To have Hiroki Goto, Tomohiro Ishii, Naito, fucking whoever Naito can bring, whoever Ishii can bring, whoever Goto can bring, and go to either All Japan or No at this point. That'd be fan-fucking-tastic. I would be so happy. I would be overjoyed to see those guys in a different, in a different venue, in a different promotion. I just don't think it's ever going to happen. That's definitely wishful thinking. But still, because, I mean, imagine Naito and Kento Miyahara. Imagine Tetsuya Naito and Katsuhiko Nakajima. Tetsuya Naito and Go Shiozaki. Tomohiro Ishii and Go Shiozaki. Hiroki Goto and Go Shiozaki. Just, Go Shiozaki. Or not even just Go Shiozaki. Fucking Tomohiro Ishii and Zeus. Tomohiro Ishii and Kento Miyahara. Like, there's just Goto and Kento Miyahara. There's just so many great matches that can happen in either All Japan or New Japan for those three guys specifically. That they faced everybody they can face in New Japan. And Ishii, Goto, and Naito will always be a cult favorite, always be the guy, especially leader LIJ. He might have another heavyweight title run. Maybe he'll finally get his just due fucking year run as the heavyweight champion. Maybe. One of these days. It just doesn't seem like it's ever going to happen. But it would happen in All Japan or Noah. That is for sure. That's just something I would always love to see. Tomohiro Ishii is the 8th wrestler on my list. Tomohiro Ishii, what a G1. He's had some great matches throughout the year. Him and Jay White. As far as kind of looking at the rankings, I mean, Naito had the second best match of the year with, or the third best match of the year, rather, with Kazuchika Okada and Tetsuya Naito. Or Tomohiro Ishii, he's only on that match of the year list once, and he was ninth against Jay White. But I think as an overall, his importance in the G1 meant a lot more than Naito's kind of wrestling. I mean, it's just kind of weird to kind of value where they belong. You could probably swap them out, have Naito 8th and Ishii 9th, but I had Tomohiro Ishii during the COVID crisis, during COVID in the G1. I think his role was more important than Naito when he just had your two title matches and you just wait for 3 months and then you drop the belt type of thing. It just, that's just my opinion on the matter. As the 7th wrestler on my list, Jesus, as I'm getting tongue-tied. We're almost an hour and 30 minutes in, Jesus Christ. It is Kota Ibushi, who is going to have quite the 2021, and 2020, what a year. He loses to Okada, goes on to win the G1 Climax, back-to-back years for him, has a pretty solid G1. His matches with Taichi, I thought the Taichi matches were good. I think him and Suzuki was one of the better G1 matches. Also, really quick, I know we're talking about Kota Ibushi, but Tomohiro Ishii and Kazuchika Okada, they had their G1 matchup. Wasn't even the top 10. Kind of crazy. That match just didn't hit the way the others have hit. So that's just kind of the way it goes. But that would have been another great match for Tomohiro Ishii to have if that match was delivered. I think it could have elevated him even over Kota Ibushi's status in this list. But for Ibushi, I think in 2021, I got a feeling. They gotta do it. He's won every belt but the heavyweight title belt, and it just makes sense for him to end Wrestle Kingdom 15 with both belts. Give it to us, come on. Give it to the Kota Ibushi, come on. As the 6th wrestler on my list, it is Zeus. Zeus had a tremendous year. From really the first half of the year, maybe not so much, but from Champion Carnival on, just a tremendous year. He wins the Champion Carnival, has a great match with Kendo Miyahara, obviously. I think he had a great match with Suwama. I would have loved it had he, and now Zeus just had, he got tested for COVID. He tested positive for COVID, rather. As, it sucks that, I would have loved to see him beat Suwama, but I get at the same time, kind of monster heel versus monster heel, in a way. It just kind of monster type of matchup, but Zeus had a great year. I think as far as maybe was it a better year than Naito, who fucking main evented the Wrestle Kingdom and won? Maybe not, but I just think as far as, again, during COVID and during when all Japan needed him the most, he delivered. So I think that elevates him on this list. Shingo Takagi at 5 is my wrestler of the year. So yes, Shingo Takagi, he had one match of the year candidate, which was him and Kazuchika Okada at the G1. But in my opinion, as far as COVID New Japan goes, the rest of the year for New Japan during the COVID, during just the COVID months, in my opinion, was Shingo Takagi. From the Jinju Stadium match, I felt like he had the best match with him and Suzuki. I think he had a tremendous G1. Was it on the level of Tomohiro Ishii and others? Maybe not, but definitely he had the best match with him and Okada. Just phenomenal stuff. I just felt like it was either him or Hiromu. Was the MVP of the COVID months of New Japan. It's just a phenomenal year. Phenomenal year for Shingo. I would love to see him elevate into 2021 as an Intercontinental Champion. Him and Ibushi. Man, that G1 match they had was... I felt like they left a lot to be... there was still a lot they could build on to for 2021. So that's what got me even more excited for that match. To be like, alright, they're going to do that again, and it's going to be even better. That's what I'm hoping for, at least. But yeah, I mean, Shingo... God bless him. He's the fucking man. We all know it. He's 5th on this list. Maybe a little too high. But again, I felt like he delivered when New Japan needed him the most. Kendo Miyahara is 4th on my list. The man who was the All Japan Triple Crown champion at the beginning of the year. Drops to Suwama. Has a great Champion Carnival Finals match with Zeus. Yeah, I mean, he's Kendo Miyahara. He's, without All Japan's ace, he's the fucking man. We all know this by now. God bless Kendo Miyahara. Would love, again, I mean, him and Naito would be fantastic. Him and Ibushi would be fucking insane. Obviously, they did the tag match with, the 20th anniversary show where they had Okada, where they had not Okada, when they had Kento Miyahara and fucking Yoshitatsu against Daisuke Sakamoto and Hiroshi Tanahashi, and they had those two squaring off against each other. It was just magic. It was just like the passing of the baton, if you will, of ace to ace. That's another one. That'd be a fantastic match to see, Kento Miyahara and Hiroshi Tanahashi. As for my third wrestler of the year, it is Kazuchika Okada. Listen, I might have shit on him for his New Japan Cup run. I might have shit on him because of that money clip. But you know what? At the end of the day, if you look at my match of the year list, he's got 3 matches that are in the top 5. Of course, he's going to be very high on this list. It is kind of cheating because he has the night 1, night 2, so he gets back to back thanks to him beating Ibushi. But it is what it is. He had a great beginning, those first 2 nights. I mean, the biggest nights of New Japan's 2020, and he had, in my opinion, the best, at least night 2. Night 1, it was still a toss-up. At the time, I thought the Hiromu Will Ospreay match was better, but obviously, I think looking back, I'd probably have to give that to Okada and Ibushi. But man, and then you had the best G1 match with him and Shingo. So, I mean, when New Japan's biggest stuff, as far as Wrestle Kingdom and the G1, he had the best matches on both those, the tournament and the biggest nights of the year at the Tokyo Dome. So, you gotta put him at least very high on the list. He's gotta at least be top 3. Even could have had top 2. But, in my opinion, the second wrestler of the year, Katsuhiko Nakajima. Now, I thought when he turned on Go, I thought he was going to be number 1 at the end of the year. But Go Shiozaki, Jesus Christ. He is number 1 on my list. That one I'm going to talk about right now. Sorry, Katsuhiko Nakajima, we talked about your story. This man, dear God, from the beginning to the end, talk about some all-time matches in this year. You have him and Kaito when he beats him on January 4th. You had him and Kazuchika Fujita. A match that was one of the first main event title matches during COVID. Fucking Vegeta shotgunning hand sanitizer, just drinking hand sanitizer. That crazy bastard. I mean, they went probably 40-50 minutes and they just beat the shit out of each other. It was fantastic. His match with Sakuraba, his match with Naomichi Marufuji was awesome. His match with even with Saito, Akatoshi Saito, unbelievable. Unbelievable matchup. Just, for a match that should not have been so good, but Go Shiozaki brought Akatoshi Saito to that level. Fantastic stuff. His match with Geno, obviously, the 60-minute draw, which I think got downgraded thanks to the Kaiji Muto match. That was the co-main event with him and Kaiji Muto and Gaito. The match with, obviously, Nakajima, match of the year in my opinion. And then a match that was another match of the year candidate, Takashi Tsuchiura. Just an incredible reign and matches that went on. I mean, how many matches did that man have that went over 50 minutes? I mean, just the level of not only the pride of pro wrestling. I mean, that's what a Japanese pro wrestler is supposed to do when he's got the title. Just take on any challenger he's got. 40, 50-minute matches where he's just, it's wars after war after fucking war that he had with a lot of great talent, and he beat them all. God bless him, he beat them all. And it's just unbelievable stuff. Unreal stuff. I mean, just, Go Shiozaki, in my opinion, without a doubt, had the best year. I mean, just unbelievable. Unbelievable. Just, I cannot believe Tokyo Sports robbed him of his MVP. I think they just gave it to Naito out of sympathy at that point because this man has been unfucking believable. Just a phenomenal year. That is a Japanese pro wrestling heavyweight champion, is what Go Shiozaki's 2020 reign has been. Unfucking real. I mean, just, he's had it for basically about a year, since fucking January 4th. From every fucking Dynamo match he's had. Unbelievable. Unreal. He's had basically, with the Takashi Tsuchiura match, with the 60-minute draw, with the Vegeta match which went over 50, the Nakajima match which went about over 40, the 30-minute Naomichi Marufuji match, and the 27, 25-minute, Kaito Kiyomiya and Akatoshi Saito match. That's like, what, almost 2.5, 3 hours worth of wrestling in a year? Just in those matches alone. Fantastic. Fan-fucking-tastic. That's a heavyweight champion, is what Go Shiozaki is. Talking about representing the pride of Noah. Now, here's the goddamn sad thing. Going into 2021, it is looking like they're going to have him lose to Kaiji Muto. Which is a goddamn shame. It's a goddamn shame. Kaiji Muto is going to be... He turned 58, which he'll be 1 year younger than Ric Flair was when Ric Flair wrestled Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 24. That's how fucking old Kaiji Muto is. An old man. Now, granted, if he does beat Go Shiozaki, which I think he will be, he'll be the third person to have all three heavyweight titles from All Japan Noah and in New Japan. He'll be joining Kensuke Sasaki and Yoshihiro Takayama, which, that's fucking awesome. And also, a guy who does belong on that list, yeah, sure, is Kaiji Muto. But at 58 years old, Jesus Christ, it sucks, but it does give Go Shiozaki a break. This will be a year that Go Shiozaki can be very proud of. I think this will be in the chronicles of his history of just him as a pro wrestler. I think this will be his best year ever. Who knows, though? I guess you never really know. He is still 38 years old. The way guys like Takashi Tsuchiura are going, and the way guys like Naomichi Marufuji are going, and even Hiroshima from DDT, who's 46, he's still going strong. Kazuchika Vegeta is 50 years old, he's still going strong. You just never really know. It seems like guys are going, farther and farther in their careers. Maybe, you never know. This could still be the beginning of something very special with Go Shiozaki. Really getting the prime of his career in his late 30s. Just a fantastic year all around for him. As just a year for pro wrestling, knowing a year for Go Shiozaki, and a lot of the talent pro wrestling know they did a phenomenal job, especially during COVID, where a lot of those heavyweight matches happened. He did a phenomenal job. As that will do it for the 2020 Marvelous Awards, the third annual Marvelous Awards. Thank you all for listening. If you made it this far, you're a real fucking supporter. Thank you all so much. You guys are the fucking best. Every year, this seems to do very well, and it's just trying to celebrate what was some of the positives of 2020. There was a whole lot of fucking negatives, that's for sure. But we try to talk about the positives for about an hour and a half. Thank you all so much, as we will catch you guys next time, as we're going to talk about, really the next kind of Japanese pro wrestling videos will be the previews for Wrestle Kingdom, both nights 1 and 2, obviously. Well, actually, night 1, and the review at night 1, obviously, because we're not going to know the complete card until it actually happens for night 2. So that's going to be a whole thing. But thank you all so much, as we will have a happy, happy new year, as we will catch you guys in 2021. Thank you all.